It's been a loaded week for the NBA. You got Steph Curry breaking his hand, Joel Embiid and Kat getting into a fight. Man, this episode's about to be lit. Let's get it. It is another day in paradise. What is up, guys? JC Bobby coming at you guys again with another episode of Lucky Number Sports. This is Lucky Number 1, episode 2. Let's get into it. Bunch of stuff happening in the Wild Wild Wednesday. You have Steph Curry breaking his hand. So let's get right into that, guys. So on ESPN.com, you have Nick Friedell saying Steph Curry broke his hand on Wednesday night's loss to the Suns, 121-110. That's by Nick Friedell of ESPN. Well, Steph Curry broke his hand, guys. So there goes my playoff predictions. I had the Warriors at number 7, make it into playoffs, and I don't see it happening anymore. That's okay, though. I hope Steph Curry the best, and I hope that he can get back soon. But it's interesting to see what is going to happen to the Warriors now that Steph Curry is out of the lineup. You're going to have D'Angelo Russell have to take that step, to lead that team. And Green, Draymond Green, he's going to have to take that step as well. Not only on the defense, but on that offensive side of the ball. Somebody's going to have to pick up Steph Curry's scoring. I don't think that they're going to make the playoffs anymore. I think this is going to be kind of like what happened to the Spurs back when Tim Duncan was drafted. David Robinson was injured that year. They ended up getting a good pick. They drafted Tim Duncan, and you know the future of that. So who knows? Maybe the Warriors can pull off some kind of lucky thing like that, and we see them next year with a new loaded up roster. And maybe they can be good, but I don't think Steph Curry should return this year. Not for a long shot. Let me take that back. I think that he should return if Klay Thompson returns and they're still in reach of the playoffs. But if Klay Thompson's not coming back and the playoffs are out of reach, there's no reason for Steph Curry to return. Steph Curry, recover, come back next year better than ever. But let's talk about the injury real quick, though. Aaron Baines did not have to fall on Steph Curry. He could have fell to the side. He didn't have to fall on top of Steph Curry, and I don't even think he had to fall at all. He wasn't really off balance. It was more one of those, let me try to take this charge kind of falls. So it was unnecessary. And he just so happened to fall on top of Steph Curry. So yes, I do think that he meant to fall on top of Steph Curry, but I don't think he meant to injure Steph Curry. So it's kind of like what happened with Zaza Pachulia and Kawhi Leonard when the Spurs were playing the Warriors in that playoff game, and Zaza just got in the landing zone of Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard ended up rolling his ankle that game, and it was just a cheap shot. It's just a cheap shot, and I don't like it as an NBA fan because I want to see Steph Curry on the court. I want to see him raining threes. I want to see him being finesse, and it sucks that Steph Curry's now not going to be on the court. It sucks to see Steph Curry out, the greatest shooter of my generation and possibly of all time. So I hope him a speedy recovery, and I hope that he gets back. But definitely a very, very, very tragic loss for the Warriors this year as they look to try to make it to the playoffs. So we don't want to jump off the Warriors right now. I don't know if you guys watched the boardroom. Kevin Durant had an interview with Stephen A. Smith, and he was talking about some of the reasons he left the Warriors. And Stephen A. Smith asked Kevin Durant, did the scrimmage that you and Draymond Green have play any role in you choosing the Nets? And he said, for sure. And I was like, whoa. So all of this finished, and now he's saying for sure. And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, he's not on the team no more. So, you're not going to say that while you're on the team with somebody because that's going to just bring up so much more beef. But off the team, that's part of the reason he left. Understandable, if some dude, came up to me and said that, I'd probably be upset too, and I'd probably be a little salty. That's one of the reasons he left the Warriors. So that was something new that came out on the boardroom with Kevin Durant and Stephen A. Smith, and the Warriors just continue to surprise us. So what's going to happen now that Steph Curry is injured? What's going to happen? I'm excited. So the Joel Embiid, Karl Anthony Towns fight, that happened as well on our Wild Wild Wednesday. Super excited to talk about that because I just like talking about fights. So first of all, you got to recognize Joel Embiid went down on a double team on Karl Anthony Towns very hard. NBA players do go down hard. They do play hard defense, but Joel Embiid did this single play especially hard, and he, in my opinion, expected no retaliation from Karl-Anthony Towns, and he was met with something totally different. So if you guys watch the video, Joel Embiid came down hard on that screen, on that double team, and Karl-Anthony Towns wasn't having any of it. If I'm not mistaken, Al Horford had the ball, and he was going down the court, was doing a layup. Then the camera goes back on Joel Embiid and Karl-Anthony Towns, and they're scrapping. And I'm like, oh, snap, what's going on? So I'm watching it, Karl-Anthony Towns he threw a punch, missed it, kind of got him in a headlock, thought he was going to hip toss him. I'm like, oh, yeah, I wrestled back in the day. Got 6 in the state, by the way, 6 in the state. Oh, he's hitting this hip toss, get it. And he didn't hit the hip toss. Ben Simmons ended up coming back behind him, grabbing him from the back, and the fight kind of stopped there. Joel Embiid got up, went to his bench, and did some little shadow boxing, and he's laughing about the whole thing. Man, I bet you that made Karl-Anthony Towns so mad for the simple fact that he didn't even do anything. Joel Embiid did not do anything at all. He hugged him and poked him in the eye, and then went to his bench and tried to act big and bad. And it's just, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. It wasn't a good look for Joel Embiid, in my opinion. Now, he's still going to get clout off of it because it's Joel Embiid. He's going to talk his junk. He already was on Twitter talking his junk. He was raised with lions, and a cat tried to fight with him today. He ran into a cat fight today. He was raised with lions. He ran into a cat fight. So, he even went in to talk about Karl-Anthony Towns' mother. He didn't really say anything about his mother, but, he shouldn't have said anything at all about his mother. He said his mother flicked him off or something like that. Shouldn't have said nothing about his mother. Just keep his mom out of that. Keep it between you and Karl-Anthony Towns. But, Joel Embiid is Joel Embiid. He's going to do what he wants to do, and he did it. He did it all right. So Karl-Anthony Towns chimed back on Twitter with a couple pictures of Joel Embiid. One of them was him crying, and it was, that was a funny picture too. So they had a funny little battle on Twitter going on. So interesting fight. It wasn't no malice in the palace, but I always get excited with NBA fights. It kind of sounds bad because I know somebody's going to lose money at the end of it because they're going to get fined. It's fun, man. It's fun to watch NBA fights because they don't usually happen. So when they do, it's like getting an accidental curly. That accidental curly is when you get those regular fries, accidental curly fry in your fries. Best thing ever. So that's what an NBA fight is to me. That's what an NBA fight is, because it doesn't happen that often, but when it does happen, you get on the edge of your seat and you want to see what happens. And these guys aren't paid to fight, and they don't fight on a regular basis, so it's funny to see them fight. I think it brings ratings up. But I was just looking at this article. They already came out with the suspensions. So it looks like NBA executive of basketball, Kiki Vanderway, announced the suspension Thursday, a day after the undefeated 76ers 117-95 home victory over the Timberwolves. The star players, they were ejected. We already knew about that. Let's get down here to what their fines were. What were they suspended for? 2 games. Karl-Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid were suspended for 2 games. That is nothing. And there wasn't really punches thrown. There was a punch thrown, but none connected. Kind of like with Chris Paul and Rondo last year, those connected. So, they got a little longer. 2 games, not that bad. Those 2 games for the Timberwolves could be, that could be a problem because that West is so close to each other that those 2 games for the Timberwolves could be a problem, missing Karl-Anthony Towns. That's the suspension, guys. 2 games. Karl-Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid got 2 games apiece. So tell me what you guys think about it in the comments below. Tell me what you think about the 2-game suspension. Was it too much, too little? And also tell me about the Warriors. What do you think? What are they going to do? They're going to try to make it to the playoffs. They're going to tank. Steph Curry going to be able to come back. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I do read them. And make sure you subscribe to this channel, like the video, and don't forget, stay lucky.